Hi, everybody, and welcome to this review webinar of our proposed bylaws changes for NAGAP. I'm Keith Ramsdell, and I chaired the committee this time around, second time around actually. We did the last bylaws changes about 2 years ago, and as you'll see today, the revisions in this document are very minor, but we did want to take the opportunity to share them with our membership. They were posted on our website, and we wanted to take this opportunity today to share them with all of you. So thank you for joining us. On the screen you can see right now, you can take a look at who the members of the committee were, and certainly the entire NAGAP board was a part of the discussions as well. All right, so what were the changes that were made this time around? Again, they were very minor. The first one, as we voted on several weeks ago now, there was a name change. Our official name was changed by a vote of the membership, and that was significant because there had been some confusion over the last couple years because, as you know, the name had changed from the National Association of Graduate Admissions Professionals to just the NAGAP, but we still needed some additional clarification, and so we voted on that, and that change needed to go into the document. We'll take a look at that in a couple minutes. We also had added an association membership category to our membership options, and that needed to be added into the document. We also, the one probably most significant change happened in the chapters section of the bylaws, and that was intended to reflect the association's potential international growth. The current document allows for growth in chapters really within the United States, but didn't provide enough flexibility, we thought, for international growth. And since we're beginning to see more and more of our international peers joining us at annual conference and joining us as members, we really felt that it's necessary at this point to provide for that potential growth, and then just some other tweaks here or there within the document. So with that, I'm actually going to leave the PowerPoint and just walk you through the actual edit document. And as we're going through it, and as I'm explaining some of these things, if you have any questions, you can jot them into the question screen in your control panel to the right. So I know this won't look as clean as what you're used to seeing in a webinar, but this is probably the easiest way to just be able to scroll through the document. So the front page just basically talks about, this is the name change. So we are officially NAGAP, the Association for Graduate Enrollment Management. The revision date will change. Again, on this page under Article 1, name, this is where within the document the official name needs to change. This was just an update from, there are 6 types of membership to membership types include, allowing for additional changes to this section moving forward. And then on number 4 is simply the addition of the associate membership type. And again, this was a change that the board had already approved. So this type of membership already existed and was listed on our website, but it had not been brought into the bylaws document yet, so we need to do that. 2 little changes here under the student and retired membership types. We had originally said that they need to be verified, as you see here in the right-hand changes, and as opposed to that, we simply said that those changes need to be approved by the membership committee. Under Article 5, Section B, right here, we changed this just slightly to note that all voting members of NAGAP are eligible for nomination. I think the original simply said nomination and election to the various offices, but we also wanted to clarify that just a bit and say for nomination, election, and service. So once elected, you can also obviously serve, but we wanted to clarify that within the document. And then in section C, under governing board of directors, we originally had this stating a simple majority is required to determining the winning candidate for officers, but it's actually a simple majority of the votes cast. And that was not clarified in our last changes 2 years ago. And so we thought this was the appropriate time to make that change. And then as we get down to committees, there's not a lot of changes there. Chapters, here we go. Under chapters, this was a bit of restructuring that we did. So section A did not really require changes other than to cut a section out and to basically turn them into their own sections. So section B, which is chapter types. And the reason that this is all in red is simply because it moved within the document. But what you'll see here is that NAGAP shall have 3 types of chapters. U.S. regional chapters, chapters that serve NAGAP members within a specific geographic region of the United States. This type of chapter currently exists. Number 2, international chapters, chapters that serve NAGAP members who reside outside of the United States. And this was just reworded a bit. And then special interest group chapters. And those this section, this is for chapters that serve NAGAP members with a common interest or goal. And again, this chapter type already exists as well. And then we also moved the establishment of chapters down to its own section. So chapters must draft bylaws, which must be approved by the governing board. Approval by the governing board was added here. Before we just had that they must have their own bylaws, but they must now be approved by the governing board. Number 2, no more than 1 U.S. regional chapter or international chapter shall be chartered in any state or territory unless otherwise approved by the governing board. This already existed and was just moved into this section. Number 3, chapters encompassing more than 1 state or territory shall include only neighboring states or territories. And again here, and in fact in number 2 as well, the only real change here is we added the term territory or territories for our international friends. And then number 4, in the event of dissolution, all the remaining assets and property shall, after necessary expenses thereof, be assigned and delivered to NAGAP. This was an existing statement that appeared up above in the document, and it made more sense to be here under the establishment of chapters. And those are the only changes to the document, as you can see. Very simple changes, but changes that will allow us to move forward a little bit more effectively. But in particular, the focus is to add things that had already changed but were simply not reflected in the document, plus some of the changes that were made to the chapter types and establishment of chapters to allow us additional flexibility for international chapters and growth in the international community. So with that, if anybody has any questions, I know that we went through those very quickly, but they're very simple changes. But if you have any questions, please go on ahead at this time and type those questions into the question box. Or you can also raise your hand in the control panel and I can unmute you so that you can be heard by everyone. Any questions? All right. Well, if not, that's what we have. If you think of any additional questions, please reach out to me at my BG email address, and I can give that to you. It's kramsde@bgsu.edu. I'll give that to you one more time. kramsde@bgsu.edu. The vote for this will be taken at the annual conference business meeting in New Orleans, and so we look forward to seeing you all there. And thank you so much for your time and your attention, and for your interest in the bylaws and the welfare of NAGAP. All right, thanks everyone. Signing off.